There's a very specific, very painful cycle that I think almost everyone listening has probably lived through at least once.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It usually starts on a Sunday night. You commit, you make this pact with yourself, you go all in, you buy the kale, you toss out the junk food.
Download the fitness app.
Right. You download the app and you hit the gym like a maniac for what, 3 days? You lose 5 pounds of water weight, you feel amazing.
Like a Greek god.
Exactly. You think, this is it, I finally cracked the code. And then it's Tuesday.
Just a random, unassuming Tuesday.
Just a Tuesday, and you're tired, or your boss yelled at you, or maybe there's just a box of stale donuts in the break room, and suddenly, without really even thinking, the diet is over.
The hand goes into the box, and the weight comes back. Usually with interest.
It's this universal frustration, and it's honestly heartbreaking because people try so, so hard.
They really do. And the data backs it up. Depending on which study you look at, something like 95% of diets fail long term. We are excellent at losing weight.
Oh, we're champions at it. For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, we're Olympians. But we are, statistically terrible at keeping it off.
It makes you feel like the whole game is rigged against you, but that is exactly why I wanted to dive into today's source material. We're not looking at a medical textbook or the latest fad from some celebrity trainer.
Someone who's probably never eaten a carb in their life.
Exactly. We are doing a deep dive into a guide called Lose It and Keep It Off by a man named Constantine Liculescu.
And what's so compelling here is the perspective. Liculescu isn't a doctor. He's not a dietitian. He's very clear about that disclaimer.
Yeah.
He's a guy who was in the trenches. He lost 41 kilograms, which is, about 90 pounds over a year and a half.
Which is a massive transformation. That's like an entire person worth of weight.
It is. But the most impressive part isn't even the loss. It's the maintenance. He's kept it off. So his guide isn't about the what.
We all know a vegetable is better than a candy bar.
Right. His guide is about the how. He basically argues that most of us are trying to solve a behavioral problem with a nutritional Band-Aid.
That's a really good way to put it. So today, we're swapping willpower for strategy. We're going to look at why habits beat diets, how he used cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, to essentially hack his own brain, and how to survive the actual traps of real life, like holidays, office stress, and travel.
Exactly. We're moving from just hoping it works to actually engineering it to work.
Okay, so let's start with the foundation. Liculescu opens with this philosophical shift that I think most people just ignore because it isn't sexy. He says right away, this is not about speed.
Right, and that is where the train usually derails before it even leaves the station. We want the overnight fix. We want the 30-day shred.
Yeah.
But his core idea is that if you want to keep weight off for life, you have to adopt a medium and long-term strategy. He's explicit about it. This is not a diet. It's a guide for a lifetime.
He does anchor this in science, though. It's not just him making up rules based on his feelings.
No, not at all. He's very data-driven. He aligns himself with the energy balance model. He cites experts like Lane Norton, Kevin Hall.
Right.
The premise is simple physics. Calories in, calories out. Regardless of your metabolism, you cannot escape the need for a caloric deficit to lose fat.
Okay, but here's the thing. I know I need a deficit. You know you need a deficit. The listener knows they need a deficit. But knowing that doesn't stop me from eating pizza when I'm stressed.
Exactly.
Knowledge is not the problem. If knowledge was the problem, we'd all be Olympians.
Precisely. And that is the absolute crux of his argument. The missing link isn't a better meal plan. It's not some magic superfood. It's psychology.
And this is where he brings in cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yes. He references a book, The Diet Trap Solution by Judith and Deborah Beck, as his Bible for this whole thing.
So for the listener who maybe hasn't spent time on a therapist's couch or thinks therapy is just talking about your childhood, give us the CBT 101. How does a therapy technique help me put down the fork?
The core concept of CBT is, well, it's pretty radical when you apply it to food. It says that it is not the events in your life that make you feel a certain way or force you to act.
Okay.
It's your interpretation of those events.
Walk me through that. Give me a concrete example.
Okay, a classic one. Let's say you get a flat tire on your way to work. That's the event. A neutral fact. The tire has no air.
I definitely would not feel neutral about it. I'd be furious.
Right, but that's your interpretation kicking in. See, one person might look at that tire and think, this is a disaster, my life is a mess, nothing ever goes right for me. That thought leads to a feeling of hopelessness. And for many, that feeling leads to an action. I need comfort. I need to soothe this. and they hit the drive-thru.
Whereas someone else looks at the flat tire and thinks, what?
They think, well, this is annoying, but I have AAA. I can call work and tell them I'll be late. They feel frustrated, sure, but they also feel capable. They don't spiral. The event, the tire, is identical.
But the reaction is completely different because the thought process is different.
That's it. That's the shift. If events caused our feelings directly, we'd be puppets. But because we control the interpretation, we have agency. Niculescu used this to dismantle his eating habits. He realized he wasn't eating because he was hungry.
He was eating because of how he interpreted stress or boredom.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the theory. But I want to get into the weeds. This guide is full of what he calls daily tactics. And I have to be honest, the first one, it made me roll my eyes a little bit when I first read it.
Which one was that?
Giving yourself credit. It sounded a little bit like, everyone gets a participation trophy. It felt very soft.
I get the skepticism. I do. But there's a biological reason for it. We are wired to respond to reinforcement if you only focus on what you did wrong. Yeah. Which is what dieters always do.
Yeah, I shouldn't have eaten that. I'm so lazy. I missed the gym.
You're just constantly punishing yourself. And that leads to burnout.
So what does giving credit look like in practice? Is he patting himself on the back for breathing?
It's about recognizing the small wins that usually go completely unnoticed. Did you read your list of reasons for losing weight today? That's a win. Did you stay in your calorie budget? That's a win. Did you walk past the bakery without going in?
That's a huge win.
Huge win. We tend to ignore the 100 things we did right and just obsess over the one cookie we ate.
And we act like the cookie erases the entire rest of the day.
Exactly. And speaking of eating that cookie, he shares a really vulnerable story about a major slip-up. And I think the story is pivotal because it breaks that all-or-nothing mentality we all suffer from.
The midnight raid, right. This sounded like a scene from a movie.
Yes. He talks about waking up in the middle of the night, half asleep, essentially zombie walking to the fridge. He wasn't even fully conscious of what he was doing at first. And he ate a huge amount of food and sweets.
Wow.
Completely blew his deficit for the day and probably the next day too.
I feel like for 99% of people, that's the moment the diet ends. You wake up the next morning, you see the wrappers, the shame hits you.
Like a truck.
And you just say, well, I'm broken. Pass the pancakes. I'll start again Monday.
That is the sabotaging thought. The I blew it, so what's the point thought. But this is where Niculescu used his CBT training. He pivoted.
So instead of thinking, I have no willpower,
or I am a failure, he just acknowledged the mistake. It was a data point. He didn't use it as an excuse to keep binging that day. He just got back on track immediately.
So consistency beats perfection. You're a human, not a robot. A robot would malfunction. A human just reboots.
Right. And you can't let one flat tire lead you to slash the other 3 tires just because you're mad. That's what we do when we quit after one bad meal.
Which leads us to his next tactic, and this one I think is even more controversial than the participation trophies. He weighs himself almost daily.
Oh, the scale.
Yeah.
Enemy.
Seriously, I know people who have panic attacks just looking at that number. It can ruin your whole week. If the number goes up, the day is ruined. So why does he insist on it? That sounds like torture.
Because he wants to desensitize himself to it. He treats the scale as data, not as a judgment. Think about it. If you weigh yourself once a week, say on a Friday, and you happen to catch a day where you're retaining water from a salty meal you had on Thursday night, the number might be up 2 pounds.
And you panic. You think, I starved myself all week and I gained weight. This isn't working. And you quit.
Exactly. But if you weigh every day, you see the noise. You see the weight fluctuates wildly based on hydration, salt, sleep, stress, hormones, all of it. So by getting a daily number, you can calculate a weekly average. You're looking for the trend line, not the individual data point.
So he's looking for the slope of the graph, not the specific number on Tuesday morning.
Exactly. And it helps him regulate his emotions. He talks about learning to handle functional negative emotion.
That's a great phrase. Functional negative emotion. What does that mean to him?
It means it's okay to be bummed that the scale didn't move. You're allowed to feel disappointed. But it's functional if you use that disappointment to stay focused, rather than letting it drive you to eat a pizza in despair.
So it's about saying, I don't like this number, so I will stick to my plan, instead of, I don't like this number, so I give up.
You got it.
Okay, let's get to the part of the guide I found the most actionable, the reminders system. This feels like the actual CBT toolkit, something listeners could literally start doing today.
This is where the rubber really meets the road. He literally writes down his demons. He identifies a sabotaging thought, that voice in your head that tells you to eat, and then he scripts a constructive response that he reads every single day, proactively.
Let's role play one of these because I think we need to hear how it sounds. The energy loss example is one I think everyone relates to.
Okay, so the scenario is you're exhausted. It's 4 p.m. on a Thursday. You're drained. The sabotaging thought pops up.
I'm tired, I'm stressed, I need to eat something to calm down or get energy. I deserve a treat to get through the day.
I have thought that exact thought 1,000 times. It feels overwhelmingly true in the moment.
It feels like a medical necessity.
It does. But his constructive response, the truth he reminds himself of is, food is not the only option.
Simple, but hard to believe when you really want a muffin.
And that's why he lists alternatives. He forces his brain to look at the menu of life, not just the menu of food. Meditation, movement, music, calling a friend, just stepping outside for fresh air.
Right.
He mentions organizing this massive international conference, super high stress, high fatigue. And by using this reminder, he realized he could manage the stress without the calories. He separated soothing from feeding.
Another big one is the time trap. The thought is, I'm too busy to cook, I'll just order takeout, I'll manage to eat healthy.
The wishful thinking trap. This is the lie we tell ourselves to justify the convenience.
Right. I'll order the grilled chicken with steamed broccoli, I say to myself as I open the app and add the burger and fries to my cart.
His reality check was brutal but necessary. He wrote down, the reality is, I don't manage if I order out. He admitted that takeout almost always led to a caloric overload.
Hidden oils, bigger portions.
Exactly. So the fix wasn't try harder at the restaurant. The fix was logistics. He bought a pressure cooker and an air fryer. He argues that 30 to 40 minutes of prep secures his health for days.
He shifted to eating 70 to 80% home-cooked meals.
Yeah. It wasn't about being a master chef. It was about control. If you cook it, you know what's in it.
It's amazing how we lie to ourselves, and writing it down forces you to confront the lie.
It creates a pause. That little pause between the impulse and the action,
Yeah.
that's where your life changes.
But even with good habits, life happens. He has a whole section on traps. I want to talk about the travel trap because this is where I always fall off the wagon.
Oh yeah, you're in a new city, there's great food, you're with friends.
And the thought is, I'm on vacation, calories don't count, or I have no control here, so I might as well enjoy it.
I'll start again when I get home. Life is short.
All of them.
Litulescu tackles this with a concept I absolutely love, the muscle of resistance.
Ooh, tell me about that.
He says every decision is a rep in the gym. If you resist temptation, if you say no to the breadbasket, you're strengthening your ability to resist next time. You are building that muscle.
Okay.
But if you give in, you are strengthening the habit of giving in.
Yeah.
You are literally training yourself to fail faster next time.
That is kind of terrifying. It raises the stakes of that one cookie significantly. It's not just about the calories, it's about the precedent it sets for my brain.
It does. But he also quotes Lane Norton here with a line that brings some balance. You can eat anything, but not everything.
Okay, so I don't have to be a monk. I don't have to sit there sipping water while everyone else eats pasta.
No, you can have the pizza,
Oh.
but you can't have the whole pizza and the wine and the dessert and the appetizer. You have to budget.
So you plan ahead.
Exactly. Look at the menu online before you get there, so you're not deciding when you're hungry and impulsive. Buy healthy snacks for the hotel room so you aren't raiding the minibar at midnight.
Okay, now what about the holiday trap? Specifically the leftovers. The party is over, everyone's gone home, but there is still half a cheesecake in the fridge just staring at you.
This is where he gets aggressive. And this advice often upsets people. His advice, if you can fit it into your plan, portion it out immediately. Freezing it helps, but, and this is the hard part,
Yeah.
if it triggers a strong craving, you can't control. Throw it away.
Just trash it. My grandmother would rise from the grave. The guilt of wasting food is so real.
It is. But think about the sunk cost fallacy. The money is already spent. The food is already made. If you eat it when you don't need it, you aren't saving the food. You're just treating your body like a trash can.
Wow. Better in the bin than on your hips. That's harsh, but true.
It is. The food is wasted, whether it goes in the trash or into your fat cells. One harms your health. The other just harms the garbage bag.
He also suggests visualization here.
Yeah, close your eyes and imagine how good it will feel tomorrow morning to wake up knowing you didn't cave. You're trading 5 minutes of pleasure now for a whole day of pride tomorrow.
We have to touch on one last trap, which is the deepest one of all. Emotional eating. This isn't just about hunger, it's about feelings.
This is tricky territory. He distinguishes between healthy and unhealthy negative emotions. This comes from the work of a psychologist named Wendy Dryden.
Wait, there are healthy and negative emotions. I thought the goal was to just be happy all the time.
If only. No sadness, concern, disappointment.
Yeah.
Those are healthy. They're appropriate reactions to life. If you get bad news, you should be sad.
Right.
Unhealthy emotions are things like paralyzing depression or anxiety that stop you from functioning.
So how does he handle the healthy ones? Say someone disappoints him.
He shares a story where he was blamed for someone else's situation. It was unfair. He felt disappointed and hurt, and the sabotaging thought immediately popped up. I feel bad. I should eat to feel better.
Which just creates a double problem. Now you're disappointed and you overate.
Right. He realized that eating wouldn't fix the disappointment. The emotion would still be there, plus now you have guilt. So his strategy is to sit with the emotion.
Sit with it. That is so easy to say and so incredibly hard to do. It sounds like torture.
It's uncomfortable. But he reminds himself, emotions won't kill me. It's uncomfortable, yes.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it's not fatal. You can feel disappointment and not put food in your mouth. You can endure it.
And the feeling passes.
The feeling passes. Food just suppresses it temporarily, but it always comes back. Learning to ride that wave, that's the ultimate skill.
It really seems like this whole guide from the CBT to the weighing to the air fryer, it's all about one thing. Realizing that you are the driver, not the passenger.
That is the perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Weight loss, in Nikolewski's view, it's not a stroke of luck. It's not a biological lottery win. It's a skill set. It involves data management, that's the weighing.
Okay.
It involves psychology, that's the CBT. And it involves logistics, that's the planning and the cooking. You build these skills just like you build a muscle.
And the proof is in the pudding. Or I guess the lack of pudding. He includes a graph of his weight loss in the guide, right?
He does, and I love that visual. It is not a straight line down. It's jagged. It goes up and down, but the trend is consistently downward.
It proves that stagnation and small regains are part of the process, not the end of it.
Exactly. It's a messy, bumpy road, but as long as you're heading south, you're winning.
Perfection does not exist. The goal is to build habits that can survive a bad Tuesday, a holiday party, and a flat tire.
Exactly.
So if you're listening to this and feeling stuck in that yo-yo cycle, maybe it's time to stop looking for a new diet and start looking at your thoughts.
Which raises a really important question for everyone listening. If you treated your thoughts like data, if you actually wrote them down and corrected them like a math error in a spreadsheet, how would that change your relationship with food?
That is something to chew on. Not literally, of course. Thanks for diving in with us today.
My pleasure.
See you on the next deep dive.